I now want to go to some of the eyewitness sound. We've been able to hear from a couple of individuals that witnessed either the sound itself, the explosion, if you will, or what happened in the aftermath. And we have a mother and son who came to a camera, and this is what they said.
We live on 20th, and we were in our showroom on 20th between 5th and 6th. And Oliver, why don't you tell her, because you and Daddy really heard it.
So we were
Working.
My mom was working, and then we heard this big boom, and me and my dad just rushed to the window to see what was going on, but we couldn't see anything, and it sounded like a million pianos just dropped, or there was just like a big thunderstorm.
No, that's a good comparison.
It was a little scary. It didn't sound like. It made, you hear in New York City, I've lived here 30 years, you hear stuff every day. It was like, wait a minute, what is that explosion? And then everything got crazy. And so we just live here, so we were like, let's go outside. We don't want to sit in our apartment and watch the TV because what's really happening out there?
Right.
You're very aware now.
Did you feel vibrations at all, or?
No, I felt the sound was so overwhelming, and did you feel anything?
No.
No, we just heard it, but 3 blocks south.
Yeah, so you were on 20th Street?
Between 5th and 6th.
And so now that you're hearing it was in fact an explosion and people have been injured. And
yeah, it makes a lot of sense. It's sort of scary. And you're just more aware right now because you just don't know what it's going to be. And yeah, so we just want to be like, let's be smart and see what's happening, and do we need to get out or do we need to just be aware?
Again, another eyewitness account of what happened this evening, the 8:30 p.m. explosion that we understand. That's when it happened. The good thing is she appears to be calm, not hurried by what had happened. No doubt frightening her and her son. We're also hearing that the ATF is now involved. I'm going to go to Jim Cavanaugh, a former ATF agent himself. When this does happen here, Jim, when the ATF is now involved, and we heard earlier from Jonathan Dienst, the coordination with now federal officials, what are you taking away from that development?
Well, ATF is the United States government's bomb investigators. The FBI does that as well under mostly the terrorism hat. But they work seamlessly with the NYPD Arson Explosives Unit, the FDNY. They all know each other. They're friends. They work and train together. And what they're going to do here is post-blast investigation. That's what all ATF agents, every ATF agent is a bomb-trained post-blast special agent investigator. They're trained to interview people about bombings. They're trained to recover the minute remnants of bombs, the inside gears of watches, all of this, little blasting caps, how to sift and find it with magnets, with special tools. And so they're experts at that. And they work with NYPD Arson Explosives. They likewise are expert, and they share the training, and FBI as well. So they will get together. They will work that scene at that dumpster, that immediate blast area. There's an immediate seat of the blast area. A lot of evidence will be contained there, Richard, because of the dumpster is a container, and it'll be close by. It shoots it out like a cannon. The noise you're just hearing from these witnesses is this reverberation in two things. One, this metal dumpster. It's going to sound like a cannon. And secondly, through the canyons of these buildings in Manhattan, which are, high-rise buildings, 7, 10, 15 stories that line the streets there. So you hear this, resonance of a blast, and people can hear it blocks away. Of course, it's not ripping buildings apart because it's not a very large bomb explosion or accidental explosive material, but it's probably contained in the dumpster. Yet you can see from the pictures how mangled the dumpster is. So we would identify that quickly as seat of the blast and go right to that to determine what is the origin of this explosives. Accidental, chemical, criminal. We're going to find out right away. And I'd say they probably have an idea which way they're going. But there'll be a lot more forensic work and interview work and camera work and intelligence work to do.
Now, one thing that I'm watching here, Jim, is the issue of the coordination. As Brian Williams was saying, this is something that is really day-to-day. Jonathan Dean saying there are 500 federal officials that commonly will be integrating and working with local officials at this moment. Now we have ATF. So I guess the key as I coordinate here is who is doing what. Is there a point where federal officials do take over this investigation as to what caused the explosion?
Well, you know, it's not really any kind of a takeover so much. It's really just teamwork. I mean, they're going to get there to the scene. They're going to work together. They're going to form their bomb investigation team. When we work these big cases, we work what we call a JOC, a Joint Operations Center. We have a command element. We have investigative elements, intelligence elements. We all work together. The decisions are made by the command elements, the commanders of all these departments and agencies, because everybody's involved. So that's pretty seamless. That's not going to be a problem. They work together every day. The Joint Terrorism Task Force is composed of NYPD, FBI, ATF, Homeland Security agents, marshals, Port Authority police, state troopers. They're all involved in those task forces and know and work together. So that won't be a problem. The real issue here is there is a bomber loose in New Jersey and New York tonight. We know that. We know there's a bomber loose. There's a bomber who made at least 3 or 4 pipe bombs. He made them with a specific purpose to kill and injure people on the run. Right. That is a fact. It can't be disputed. And it is important to remember. Now, this explosion, is it criminal? Is it accidental? That's the next piece of the puzzle. But there is, even if it turns out to be accidental, there's a bomber still loose in the metropolitan area, and that's of real importance to everybody up there tonight.
Jim, stand by. I want to go to Jose Diaz-Balart, also reporting on this for us today. And Jose, what are you seeing, and what